Here, this is the aortic arch. You really can't see very much of the ascending aorta. You can see a little bit of the descending aorta back here traveling alongside the esophagus. So let's look at the three branches coming off the aortic arch. The first one is going to be the brachiocephalic trunk, which you can see up here as well. Second one is going to be the left common carotid artery, and the third one is going to be the left subclavian artery. So you can't see the branch point where the brachiocephalic trunk turns into the right common carotid artery and the right subclavian artery, but you can see the right common carotid artery and the right subclavian artery. So you just infer that the branch point is going to be right about there, where the brachiocephalic trunk will give rise to those. Here you can see the continuity of the left common carotid artery, and then over here you can see the continuation of the left subclavian artery traveling alongside your left subclavian vein. So let's talk about the veins now. You can't see the external jugular veins here. All you can see is the internal jugular vein. So this is going to be your right internal jugular vein, and this is going to be your left internal jugular vein, both draining your brain, right? That's why they're so large, is because humans have these huge brains, right? As opposed to the rabbitish, you'll see they have very small, very narrow internal jugular veins. So if we did show the external jugular veins, which are draining the scalp and the eyes and the face, they are going to be coming down side by side here, just lateral to the internal jugular veins, and they're going to converge with your subclavian vein. So here's the right subclavian vein, and here's the left subclavian vein, to form the brachiocephalic veins, which are here and here. So here's the right brachiocephalic vein, and here's the left brachiocephalic vein coming together to form your superior vena cava. Right. So now let's go back to the aorta. We'll start with the abdominal aorta, all right, which is visible here as it pierces through the diaphragm. So you can't see the inferior phrenic arteries here at all, which are delivering blood to the diaphragm, right? But you can see the celiac trunk, and you cannot see the three branches coming off the celiac trunk, though. So that's the celiac trunk. You can see the superior mesenteric artery, which is flopped right over your left renal vein, as always. Right? You can see your right and left renal arteries delivering blood to the kidneys. You can see the gonadal artery. So here is your right gonadal artery, and here's your left gonadal artery delivering blood to the gonads. And then down here is your inferior mesenteric artery. And then here's the end of the abdominal aorta, where it branches into the right and left common iliac arteries. And it's nice about this model, you can pull this out so that you can clearly see the next branch point, right, which is where the right and left common iliac arteries, right, are going to break into their respective external and internal iliac arteries on each side. So right here, right, is the external, right specifically external iliac artery and right internal iliac artery, and then over here on the left is the left external iliac artery and left internal iliac artery. Notice that the internal iliac arteries turn inwards to deliver blood to the pelvis. And that's pretty much, you can see just a little bit of the femoral artery and vein on the right, just below the ilioinguinal ligament, but I don't think we would ever test you on those at that location just because you can see so little up in there.
Should be deep.
Okay, so let's look at the veins. So clearly, going alongside your external iliac arteries on each side, you can see the external iliac veins. Right, so let me pull this out again. So here and here are your external iliac veins, which are draining the lower extremity. So this is the right external iliac vein, and this is the left external iliac vein. And then right about here and here is the convergence point where the internal iliac veins, which are traveling right alongside your internal iliac arteries, are going to converge with those external iliac veins to form the common iliac veins. All right, you really can't see very much of the right common iliac vein, but you can see a lot of the left common iliac vein. Right about here is where they come together to form your inferior vena cava. All right, let's look at this model now.